All right, watchers, we are back. And when I say we, I gotta hesitate there a little bit because I'm still luckless, but lucky for you guys, I got one of the hosts of one of my favorite podcasts. I've been listening to this guy for more than a few years now. Tis the podcast is that podcast that keeps the Christmas spirit going 365 days out of the year. And I was lucky enough to get one of their elves on. No, I couldn't get Julia, guys, but I got one of my favorite elves, and I gotta say, I met this guy years back. I want to say 2020 to be exact, when we both guested on another one of our favorite Christmas podcasts, host Gary Davila's "Tis the Podcast," and I said an off-color joke that Jerry did cut from his show, but it made this guy laugh, and I knew we were going to be lifelong friends, and we have been. So, Anthony Caruso of "Tis the Podcast" and DC Unlimited, welcome to Now Watch This, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. First time, not the first time invited, but first time on the show, I believe.
Yes, no, we had something set up before where I still want to get into doing a interview type show with you that I did with Jerry and Chuck, but I have you on, and Anthony, it's the Burr months and it's the spooky season. And while you're the host of Tis the podcast, that, like I said, Christmas podcast, you're the spooky guy to me. I see, I follow your Facebook, I follow your Instagram. You are the king of spooky season, sir. So I had to have
I
you on for spooky season.
I am the spooky guy. Anyone who listens to Tissa podcast in September and October know I'm really the one who's gung ho about doing the horror stuff for 2 months. Tom, for some reason, conveniently finds himself busy for these 2 months and doesn't show up. Julia's a good sport though because she likes hearing what happens in horror movies without actually watching them, which is why we have our little spin-off show on Patreon, "Tis the Ruin" podcast, where I walk her through our horror movie and she tries to guess the twists and turns and depths along the way. But yeah, I'm a big horror fan, so
Well, not only Tis the podcast, but you also do a DC Unlimited podcast where I don't hear you get into the spooky stuff too much on that, but you also have a pretty popular letterbox, where you rate and review movies. Now I've just gotten into letterbox, so maybe you can kind of walk us through that and tell us about your letterbox.
yeah. So people who want to follow me on Letterbox can do so. A Caruso 929. I see a lot of movies. I try to see at least one theatrical movie a week. I have the A list thing, so 4 movies a week for like $28. You can't beat it. Um, yeah, you rate and review movies on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. You log when you watch them. You can make lists and everything. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of my Letterboxd. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, going through your letterbox, there is one. I guess I don't know what is it. You have like a top four. Like, is that it, or you have your top movies? And Halloween's on your list, and I would love to get into Halloween with you. But another one that kind of sparked my interest that was on your list. It's not in your top four, but the series that I want to get into today, Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger. I know that's got to be one of your favorites.
The original is back
Yes.
when Freddy was still scary and not too talkative and turned into a joke. But yeah, that original one. I just rewatched it. It's still very scary. I very much like the original. Number three, Dream Warriors. I love New Nightmare, and
Yeah,
I'll say this: I think Freddy versus Jason is like my second favorite Nightmare movie and my second favorite Friday the 13th movie. Like I
bro,
know people
isn't it?
hate on that one, but that one's just a lot of fun. Like
It
yeah, the cast of kids isn't that great, but you're not watching it to see them. You're watching it to see these two fight, and the fight lived up to it. So
Yes, dude. I loved it. Freddy versus Jason for me, it hit on all kinds of feels. but it's the same person that says that, well, the Jason movies aren't that great. Yeah, well, I'm not watching Jason movies to see a, 4-star, 5-star movie. I'm watching it for the kills, for those great end scenes. And same thing with Freddy. I know he got a lot cartoonish because, I mean, hell, there was a Freddy Krueger cartoon.
Yes.
uh,
He had his own rap song. He had his own TV show, books. He was on kids like lunchboxes and stuff. Like he was
bro,
an icon of the 80s,
one nine
which
hundred
is which,
Freddy.
which is very weird when you consider A, it's a horror movie, but B, the implication that he also diddled kids while he was alive.
Yes, yes, yes. That was the thing, and I heard that they ended up wanting to go away from it.
Well, I think I
He's
read Wes Craven said it's obvious enough without having to say it explicitly. So he didn't feel the need to say it explicitly, but he said, yeah, that's, I mean, you watch the first movie, it's kind of
yeah.
right there, it's implied.
Oh, I mean, he's only attacking a high school girl in the bathtub. Which
Which,
you
by the
know,
way, is one of the best shots in that movie when she's asleep in the bathtub and the glove comes up between her
dude,
legs.
there is so much in, and the reason I want to talk mainly about the first movie because it is one of my favorites. Now, I'll tell you that part three is probably my favorite. And
Part three has, I think, one of my
yes.
favorite kills.
Oh, definitely.
The
I like
marionette
the
one.
cast as well. And it going back to the original cast, that did it for me. I love the whole Dream Warrior scenes
Yeah,
and everything like that.
that one was like the requel before Halloween and Scream made the requels popular. Like
Yes.
that was going back to the original cast and continuing the story after they moved away from it.
Well,
Um,
Frank Darabont wrote on part three. Frank Darabont, and he's done a bunch of other
Walking
things in
Dead.
horror. Yeah, Walking Dead. I believe he wrote on Monster Squad as well. So you can kind of
Monster
see
Squad.
they had their own squad in there as well.
I'll tell you this for the Monster Squad, I always thought a good sequel, like if they wanted to do it nowadays, if they could get the rights to all of them, you could
Yeah.
do that with the slasher villains, Freddy in the Dracula role, manipulating everyone else, and bringing to life Jason and Chucky and Leatherface and all of the Art the Clown and all of them to face the kids.
Oh, to face the kids. I And then the kids maybe bring back the classic monsters to help
Yeah,
them.
yeah, 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 yeah. They'd
Dude,
have to contact the original Monster Squad to help them. That would be dope.
that's a that's the monster story end game right there.
Well, you know that what the proposed sequel to Freddy versus Jason was. They did the comic, but they never got it made.
No, no, what was that?
It was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Oh, they were
And
gonna have him in there, right? Yeah.
yeah, so the comic is actually really good. It's hard to track down now. You can get them on eBay for like hundreds of dollars. But yeah, Freddy's after the Necromonicon, which would bring him essentially back to life and give him total control. And he uses Jason, he manipulates Jason again to try to get it, and it pits the two of them against Ash.
Dude, I again, I always felt like Freddy in the 80s was, I mean, because I love Michael Myers. Michael Myers is probably my favorite, but Freddy, he was the 80s for me. Like he was, oh, you people would argue with it, but and Freddy almost was Batmania before Batmania.
Oh,
Uh,
no, he absolutely was. He,
right?
out of all the slasher villains, he was the one who was most popular at the time.
He was
Uh,
doing TV appearances and stuff.
And I think part of what makes Freddy so long lasting and scary, and it's kind of why I think Art the Clown is so popular now, is unlike Jason, unlike Michael, unlike these silent ones, he actually enjoys what he's doing. He does it
Oh
just
yeah.
to be an evil prick. Like
Yeah.
there's no rhyme or reason to it, and he just enjoys being an evil son of a bitch.
Well, I know like part 1, the kills are a lot more gruesome. I think like, but part 3 on, the kills became about something, right? Like, oh well, you like video games, so that's how you got killed. You like dolls, the marionettes. That's how you got
The
killed.
marionette scene is
It's great.
great.
It's great. The welcome to prime time, bitch. TV scene. Again, it was great. The kills became like that towards the later movies, but man, that first. I mean, you think about it. Part one, there's only 3 kills, and it people will tell you that part one is probably the most gruesome of all the
Three.
movies.
There's
Is it three?
Tina. Well, the three kids, and then you
The
have
mom,
the
maybe.
mom. So four.
Yeah, four.
Well, but you're right. I didn't even think of it. Were not many kills in that one.
No, and then just kind of the groundbreaking things that they did with that movie. You talked about the tub scene, but the spinning room scene. It's all practical effects.
Well, I mean, the Johnny Depp one was an accident because they lost control of the spinning room, which is why the blood pours out like that.
And it looks great. I mean, it was always like, what did they do to him? What did Freddy do to make all that blood come out of him? But the telephone scene, that was it. All this stuff became iconic.
The telephone scene still grosses me out. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy, and then it's a tongue going in her
Yeah.
ear.
And it was little things like that you're right, like gave you the hint that this guy did more than that. And you can see, like, dude, if I was, as a parent, if the dude that murdered my kid got away with it, yeah, I'd want to track him down and do
Well,
something to him.
I think that's what's so great about it. Like the parents got their justice, but they went about it such the wrong way that he was able to
Yeah.
come back and still torture and haunt their kids.
Yeah, and it talks about, like, the amount of deaths even before this starts. You got to imagine that the kids singing outside were probably some of the original ghosts out there. The 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, kids. Which my 11-year-old daughter sings to no end. Like, we're just hanging out, and she starts
Uh,
1, 2. So
And I'm
yeah,
gonna reference Freddy versus Jason a lot because that is one of my favorites. But
yeah,
I think it was genius to make the tagline of that movie "1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, Jason's at your door."
yeah. Dude, just think you could have gone on with Michael Myers in that. Um, I whose side were you on when that came out, though? Whose side were you on? Were
I,
you
I
were
was
you
Team Jason. I mean,
right?
Freddy's the evil one, and they definitely did something to make Jason even more sympathetic in that movie.
Right? You
But
you felt like Jason feels like a puppy, right? He always does that
like
sideways look.
the abused puppy, yeah,
Yeah.
he's kind of like Frankenstein's monster, where he's like misunderstood almost.
Oh
Uh,
man.
but let me just say, by the way, if I
Yes.
can, about that movie a little bit more. I know people hate on that movie, but I thought it was clever, the whole plot to bring them together, where Freddy has been forgotten, so he needs
Yeah.
someone in the real world to go to Elm Street, and he resurrects Jason.
Genius.
Um,
Genius.
and the whole opening of that movie, where Freddy's narrating like about how the children gave him his power, but they forgot about him, but now he found somebody to make them remember.
Yeah.
And then the way he impersonates Mrs. Voorhees.
Yes, 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 yes.
So
And
good.
every probably female in the Jason series has done that, right?
Yep.
And so they just brought it back to him again. Uh um I want to ask you a little bit more about Jason, if I could.
Yeah, yeah.
Um a guilty pleasure of mine is Jason X. People hate it. People
That's
hate it. There's something
Jason
about it that I
X.
I I I love. Like, I don't know it's so corny, I guess. I don't know. I just love it. Like, it's a favorite of mine. I watch it every Halloween.
Jason X knows exactly what it is, and that's what makes it fun.
Yes. Um.
Plus his mask looks awesome in that movie. But
Right.
I'll tell you what the best Jason movie is, and I know it's controversial, but I stand by it. I think the best Jason movie is a remake, the 2009 one. He
Do you
is
now?
scary in that one. He moves
Yeah.
fast, he's huge, but they
That
still do
one.
the
that
They
one
they're
also made you kind of understand how he could move from one place to another,
Yeah,
right?
he had
Like,
the underground tunnels.
yes. Oh my god. And that,
Plus,
to
that one
me,
was like
that
a
made him scarier.
yeah, absolutely. And plus, that one, it was a great remake because obviously, if you remake Jason now, you can't do a whole movie with Mrs. Voorhees without Jason, but they still put
Yeah.
her in the cold open. And then, like, the first 20 minutes of the movie was basically a remake of the first two Friday the 13th movies. Like, he has the bag and then he gets a mask.
Yeah.
So
Um
I loved how they did it.
I did too, and I was very disappointed that they didn't go on with it. I know that they're doing a series now, a Camp Crystal Lake series, which I got to tell you, Anthony, I don't have high hopes for, but I mean, I'm willing to see anything.
I
Um,
uh I like Linda Cardellini, and I know she was cast as Mrs. Voorhees. I'll tell you this, Bates Motel, that TV show turned out great, and I loved
yeah,
that show. So
okay,
I'm hopeful for this. I think with the right, you need a good script because like people forget because Jason took over that franchise, but the original Friday the 13th was a
yes,
smash hit, and it was Mrs. Voorhees was the killer. Like
yes.
I think putting the focus on her could be very interesting.
I think my favorite part about part one is when you realize it's Mrs. Voorhees, but there's a bunch of scenes of Tom Savini's hands in there as Mrs. Voorhees, and it's like, good lord, Mrs. Voorhees, shave those knuckles, girl. Okay, since we're talking other movies too, I kind of want to ask you, Halloween wise, what did you think of of Halloween Ends? I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'll just tell you because I don't think I've watched the rest of Halloween Ends. Like, I stopped watching it at one point, and I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, I was so upset. Like, I
So the first time I saw it, I was very disappointed, and I think it was because of expectations. They kept billing it as the final Michael Laurie story, their final
yeah,
fight, and you only got like 15 minutes of that.
yes,
Uh,
yes,
but the more I watched it, it has grown on me a lot. I really
okay,
like the whole idea of evil doesn't die; it just changes form. So I get what they were trying to do. I think the problem was false advertising with that movie. But
yeah.
I think I'll tell you this: my favorite Halloween timeline, because we all know Halloween's a choose your own adventure franchise at this point in
At
time.
this point, yeah,
But my favorite timeline is Halloween 78 and then the new trilogy Halloween
yeah.
18, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends.
I do like what I do like. I liked 18. I liked Halloween Kills. I really liked Halloween Kills. Like, I would put that up there. I really, I don't know if it was just as a kid, Halloween 4 was always my favorite. Like,
Halloween
I
4,
really don't know why. I can't tell you why. I just love it.
I'll tell you why, because it's one of mine.
Yeah.
Halloween 4 has impeccable autumn and holiday Halloween vibes. It looks
Yeah.
very Halloweeny.
Oh, yeah, that intro scene. When you said impeccable though, I thought you were talking about the cop's daughter, and I was like, that's impeccable too. But no. The cop's daughter, that's a police do it by the book or something like that. Um, that she has she's at the house or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I think she makes the rounds, but the intro of Halloween 4, the music, that guy that's like, Jesus don't have nothing to do with this place, and the thumb through the head, I
And,
just love it.
and then that ending when you find out, I mean, they retcon it in the next movie, but when
Yeah.
she killed her parents and Dr. Loomis, no,
Dude,
no,
Loomis
no.
was not like backing, like he was gonna shoot a kid right there, then and there. He was like, there was no stopping him.
Let me tell
Loomis
you something.
is what's been missing.
Yeah, Loomis is definitely missing from the new trilogy, but I loved in Halloween Kills the opening how they recreated 1978, and it looked
Yes,
exactly like that film. The way it was shot, the mask, and
yes,
it blows my mind that Loomis was a body double. That wasn't CGI. That was just some guy in heavy makeup to look like him.
really, dude. I mean, I liken that to like, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, Anthony, but Rogue One going into Star Wars: A New Hope. Um, like I really like that how they melded those movies together. So,
I
but
liked how they melded those movies together, even though I'm not a fan of Rogue One overall. In fact, I think Rogue One is the worst Star Wars movie overall, and I
oh
stand
really?
by that.
I don't know, man. I'm a big crybaby in movies, and that at the end they're sitting there on the beach watching, waiting for death. Basically, I'm
Hmm.
just like, oh, I'm blubbering. But I don't want to keep you too long, Anthony. I do want to get and really talk about the start of the show and kind of ask you questions about it. But I do got to ask you some things about New York City because I am so jealous. Like everybody, nobody talks about any other city around Christmas time like they do about New York. So, tell us about your city. Tell us about New York City.
I mean, you just said it. There is no better place in the world in the fall or around Christmas. Fall, you just love wandering Central Park. Christmas, and it's different nowadays, right? With climate change, it doesn't get cold early, and you don't really get snow until after Christmas nowadays. But growing up, you
Hmm.
always got a white Christmas. Um, and yeah, there's no place that looks more Christmassy. Like
Oh,
Hallmark can keep their little snowy villages, but nothing compares to the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree or the Radio City Rockettes or everything. Fifth Avenue light show, and it's just perfect, and I love
and
it.
you see it in different shows, different movies. It's its own character, right? New York City.
It is its own character, yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, it's as much of a character in Elf as any of the characters.
Yeah. I like watching like The Office when Steve Carell's walking in New York. I mean, just
I mean,
everything
that's
about
still
it.
one of my favorite show jokes on the whole show. I am gonna get me a New York slice, and he runs into Sabaros.
Yeah. When he misses Conan O'Brien, but thinks he sees Tina
He
Fey.
thinks he
Yeah.
sees Tina Fey. Yeah.
Now,
Uh,
I'm one of those is if I go there, like I went to Las Vegas and I wasn't interested in anything else but trying to see the fountains where they did Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 13. I kind of want to see like movie places, so I would think I'd get around there. How is it around Halloween in New York?
they do the Halloween parade every year. It's not as big as like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, but
Hmm.
yeah, Halloween, like it's in New York City, it's more for like college kids and adults more than actual kids. Like all the bars and clubs do
Yeah,
go all
I've
out
heard
for it.
of Madison Square Gardens.
Uh,
Have you done that? Have you been to that, or is that a different part?
no, I have not done that, but they also don't do that every year.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So is
Yeah.
that a haunted house at in Madison Square Garden?
It's not so much a haunted house. It's kind of like if it's kind of like more of a scary Halloween themed Cirque du Soleil type show rather than a house.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I've listened to another podcast that referenced that. I just thought I'd ask. But one of the reasons that I wanted to get into Nightmare on Elm Street, in particular, is as a kid. Well, as a kid, um, I around 15, I worked at a haunted house called Nightmare on Grayson, and I worked there like from 15 till I was 20 during the season, and I worked as a scare actor in a haunted house. Um, you know, it was one of those like the old joke goes is I walked into the haunted house and I was so ugly that they gave me a they gave me an application to work there.
uh, you know, a haunted house. So I'll tell you about a haunted house because I did horror nights this year at Universal Studios,
Oh, okay.
and I'm an easy mark. And this
Yeah.
year they had well, they had a Terrifier house, a Friday the 13th house, whatever. But the Jason house. So
Yes.
the way it's set up, like the scare actors have access to kind of like four different rooms. So the one in one of the rooms, the scare actor playing Jason got me good. And then because he knew he had an easy mark, he would
Oh,
pop
they
up and
follow you.
target me. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, like to the point like I swear the girls behind me were trying to put me on TikTok and make me TikTok famous. They're cracking up at how easy I was.
Have you found those videos, man? Oh, that would
No,
be great.
no, but it would not surprise me if they're out there somewhere.
Um, no, dude, I worked there. Okay, I started there. I was 15. Working there with grown adults, and dude, these guys would party after the shows, and I'd just be there waiting for my mom to pick me up or somebody, or my mom at one point worked lived right down the street from the place, so I just walk home like at midnight from that place. And but it was an awesome place, and it started off as just a haunted house, but then it grew to be like not only a haunted house but had things on the outside. Now the scary part about the building was that it was haunted itself.
Oh
So
wow.
yes. So
We
you'd be walking in the back and somebody would walk past you and you'd turn around and they're not there. Now, thankfully I never saw that because I wouldn't go back to that place. I don't mess with the spirit world. Although I'm totally into all that stuff. I don't want to see anything. But yeah, that place gave me the creeps. But it was called
we
Nightmare on Grayson.
so the local the one I always went to was called Forest of Fear, and basically
Ooh.
this is the old Renaissance fairgrounds that they in the summer and in fall turn into this giant haunted house and carnival type thing. But the
Oh,
actual house itself,
outside?
yeah. Well, you
Nice.
did, and then you had the house that was kind of indoor, outdoor, both the path. But I remember one year you could dress up, and I was Batman one year. So because I was Mr. Tough Guy, they won't let you wear your mask. I had to take the mask off, so I still had the eye makeup on and the costume and the cape. And because I was Batman, Mr. Tough Guy, I was a big target in that house. Meanwhile, there are these high school girls behind me, like so terrified. They're on top of me, like holding on my cape, and I'm like, "You guys realize I'm not really Batman, right?" Like, yeah, like chokingly, it's holding on the cape.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna tell you, Anthony, the best feeling is scaring people. Um, you would scare people like grown big men. I remember I started there as a 15-year-old, right? And I'm on the JV team for the JV squad for the football team. And at one point, all the varsity guys were going to the haunted house, and I was in a place. It was just called the Shadow, and it was a long hallway with all black, and you're dressed in all black with the face covering, and you would just step out, and I tell you what, like these guys ran over each other trying to get out of there, and it was such a great feeling. Like they knew it was me afterwards. I talked to them, but to scare them like that, you'd see husbands push their wives into the wall. I got punched one
Well,
time. Yeah.
Well,
So
speaking of Jason and husbands pushing their wives into the wall, did you ever see that video that went viral? It was on YouTube a few years ago, but I always saw it on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Like this African American couple, he was proposing to her on the dock or something, and Jason pops out of the lake, and he is so frightened he takes his fiance, I guess, and like throws her into the lake at Jason and just takes off. It's
oh,
amazing.
dude. Yeah, that one probably didn't last. um, I remember we did a room. It was called the polka dot room, and it was a big deal to work this room.
Hmm.
So you're dressed in all polka dots. The room's filled with polka dots, and there's a strobe light going on, and you can back up into the wall and blend straight into it. Um, and it was great. Now, I scared a group of college kids, and of course the big tough guy uh was mad that I scared him, and he hauled off and took a punch at me. We have security tags in that room, and you flash them on and it shines to which room it in. Bro, security got in there like the Gotti boys, like came in, flashlights on. Who was it? Pointed him out. They took him out, beat his ass in the back. It was awesome. It was a beautiful thing. They're like, "Hey, man, we got him good for you." uh,
But I'll tell you to kind of like tie it back to Freddy a bit. When I was walking through that Jason house at Horror Nights this year, I was thinking to myself,
mhm.
Michael just had his requel trilogy. Chucky had his TV show, which is great, by the way. If you have never seen it,
Yes.
Scream, Ghostface is still alive and well. Art the Clown is out there kicking and as a new horror icon.
Yes,
Uh,
he's the new one.
Jason has, his TV show coming out now. Poor Freddy, considering he used to be the king of them all, is just kind of sitting like he deserves to be brought back, and I don't know what to do. It's funny because have you seen the trailers of the Black Phone 2? It's like
Yes.
Blumhouse wanted the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street, couldn't get them, and they decide let's just change the names and make a Freddy Krueger movie anyway.
Well, it wasn't too long ago, Anthony, that a show that I loved called The Goldbergs had Freddie on, and he came
Yes.
out full makeup, full did everything. Um, and people were talking about like, hey, this is gonna renew interest. Um, Robert England can still do it. Like they're gonna kick it back up, and then
It,
nothing came out of it, man.
yeah,
Like,
but even Robert England doesn't think he could do it anymore. He
no,
said like unless they do it animated, he's too old to do the makeup now, and I think he said something like I'm too old to chase girls around in their panties nowadays.
especially high school kids. No, but yeah, one of the reasons I brought up the haunted house was the star of that haunted house was Freddy Krueger, man. So, yeah, we'll get back into Freddy here. So, can I talk to
Well,
you?
one
Oh,
one other thing, real
yeah,
quick, and it's on the Freddy topic.
uh huh,
He was big when you look at he was parodied. He's still parodied today. He was on Rick and Morty
yes,
as
yes,
if I don't know if you watch that Haunted Hotel show, the new one on Netflix, but in the opening credits, you never see
yes.
him in the main show, but it's the Freddy guy like stabbing a guy in the opening credits. Like, so he's still iconic enough, the burns and the glove, to like be parodied nowadays.
And that's the key, right? Like, it's always been said, like, you've made it when the Simpsons do it. And one of my favorite Treehouse of Horrors is when groundskeeper Willie is Freddy Krueger, man. So
Love that one.
yes, it can be done, and I hope that they do. Now, I hate that Jackie Earl Haley gets all the hate that he gets for his turn at Freddy, um, because I like that guy. I was a I was a fan of some of his movies, and he's from San Antonio, so
So
it
I
sucked that he got the hate on that.
I think he could have made a great Freddy. I think they went too realistic with the makeup.
Yes,
And
yes,
I
it looked too much like a burn victim.
and I also think they needed another pass at the script to make it less CWE and more a film.
Yeah.
But there was some good stuff in there. I like the whole sequence in that movie with the micro naps where she keeps like having the 10-second naps in the pharmacy and like the
And
aisle keeps turning into the boiler room as she's staring down it. Like that was great.
yeah, well, one because if you've ever been falling asleep in a meeting, in study hall, and anything like that, you've gone through that. You've gone through where you've kind of, I mean, nodded off, and imagine, nodding off into a nightmare like that. That'd be crazy. Yeah, I could see that. Um, Anthony, but what was your kind of first encounters with either Nightmare on Elm Street or Freddy Krueger?
So I've told this story on my podcast before. I tell the story on every podcast because everyone likes to say I'm the horror guy now. You even said it
I,
earlier, but
I
I
I have to.
but my first like the 80s had Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers as the boogeyman. I grew up in the 90s, so Ghostface is my boogeyman. He was my first horror movie, and the first time I saw it in the sixth grade, I noped the fuck out of there after the first 10 minutes. I was so scared. And now look at me today. But
Yeah,
Ghostface was my first, and soon after was Michael Myers, and I think after Michael it was Freddy. I think he was the third franchise I got into. Um, and I remember those are still the days of Blockbuster and stuff. I'd go and rent a different movie every week, uh, and because it's long past the 80s, it wasn't the 3 day limit. I had it for a full 7 days, and I'd watch it multiple times during it.
yeah,
But I remember the idea, Freddy, again, especially in those first few movies, is really scary.
Yes.
His powers are very cool. The glove is iconic, and you know, reading about how Wes Craven came up with the idea is crazy too, because he read all these newspaper articles about like teenage boys who are otherwise healthy and unconnected
Yes.
being too afraid to go to sleep, and then when they started falling asleep, they would just die in their sleep, and no one could figure out why. That's terrifying. So
Right.
that's how he got the idea. And then he got the idea of Freddy from a homeless guy in his neighborhood growing up. He looked out the window, and the homeless guy in a fedora was just staring up at his window, grinning at him. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, that's chilling. So he did a good job of mashing those two things together and creating Freddy.
Yeah. My dad had an old hat that was similar to Freddy's, and he could do that and make some eyes towards you, dude, and it just like I mean, again, Freddy came out 1984. I'm 4 years old. Um, I didn't have parents that were like, no, you can't watch stuff like that. They were like, hey, check this shit out, and so I'm sure I saw it around 5 6 years old. That first Nightmare on Elm Street. So I remember being very, very, very scared of Freddy, and then um getting into like the later ones, like being more of a fan of Freddy. If you can say that.
Yeah, because it is funny because the earlier ones scared me as a growing up, but growing up, I also really liked the later ones because I think it would had that more comedic element.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, Freddy, he was scarier before we knew too much about him. Like when you get into the whole the bastard son of 100 maniacs, and 100 guys raped the nun, and I was
Yeah.
like well, it's
Uh
scarier. Like it's kind of like when they try to with Michael when they tried the whole cult of Thorn thing, and then they tried to explain his
yes.
backstory. No, it was just
Yeah.
scarier. There was a 6 year
It's
old kid who
scarier when he's just a
snapped.
killer. Yeah, yeah.
Just like it's way scarier when he's not related to Laurie, and it turned out to be a random act of violence.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's
Um
when you start explaining these guys, they lose
yeah, yeah.
their
You don't want to
mystique.
have any sympathy for them, right? I know Jason got turned into a more sympathetic character like we talked about earlier.
I
But
mean, he's basically mama's boy.
yeah, Freddy and Jason, I mean Freddy and Michael Myers, no, not really. Um I always thought that Freddy kind of could turn things on people, but he took he took you into a more magical realm, especially in the dream world, and it brought into like the different aspects where, um, like the dream warriors. Like if you went into the dream world, now you can be as strong as Freddy, or you can have powers too. You can walk, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
the whole lucid dreaming thing was a cool twist, especially because lucid dreaming is real.
Yeah,
People can figure out how to lucid dream. So you making that the key to defeating Freddy, I think was really smart. Um, but man, let me tell you, because I mentioned it earlier, like all these legacy sequels, like Halloween and Scream, I really wish they would do a legacy sequel to Dream Warriors and bring Nancy and Robert England back for one last toe to toe match as Freddy and Nancy.
dude, Patricia Arquette is still out there doing it. Like, I mean, she
Yeah,
could
she
definitely
is.
come back. Dream Warriors had such a great cast, and then that Jockin song, man. Uh, "We're the Dream." I just love it. I think the Fresh Prince song. It. I think there was something wrong with that. Like it wasn't originally supposed to be. It wasn't a Nightmare on Elm Street song, right? Like they just took the beat from there. And that's that's a whole other thing. I think the score changes from the first Nightmare to the second one. But that score is everything. That Charles Bernstein score, like that's iconic in itself.
Yeah, that those few simple notes on the piano,
Yeah.
doom 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 doom. It's
Yes.
creepy as heck. And again, not to go back to Freddy versus Jason, I love that they did that, and then they added that.
Yeah. I used to scare my brother with that Jason sound all the time. But yeah, the thing about the Freddy score, like it can go slow, it can go fast, but it gave that more melodic tone that and gave, like I said, almost a dream sequence type of feel. Um, Now
So
that
I
score is ingrained in my head, Anthony, because night after night it was on repeat in that haunted house, and you'd just be sitting there for 5 or 6 hours with that thing playing in the background. So I can go through it all.
That's awesome. Now I have
Yeah,
a question for you about that
yeah,
original Nightmare on Elm Street. I know Johnny Depp's death is usually the fan favorite moment from that film. But for me, I think the best death scene is Tina's, the way she's dragged across the ceiling and everything at the beginning. What
yes.
would you say is the best death scene in that movie?
No, it is. It's that opening death scene with Tina. Um Everyone talks about that movie. I mean that scene, just how brutal it was. And that one, there was nothing cute about it, right? Like again, I hate to say cute about, like, some of the deaths later on that became, like, oh, now you're playing with power, or or when he gets to the one guy and he's like, let's get high, and they start getting high together, right? Or something, which is funny.
Well,
Again,
how
I
about
loved
the
it.
how about one of the later movies where he literally kills Roseanne and Tom Arnold?
Yes, yes. The cameos that he ended up getting, people forget about that. Like they're like, those people were not in that. Yes, Tom Arnold was in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
With
Um,
Roseanne, who he was married to at the time.
Now I gotta ask, do you remember Johnny Depp coming back for a cameo? Um, like it was, hey, this is your brain, on drugs, and then Freddy comes in with the pan and hits them, and he's like, what are you on? That looks like a couple of eggs to me. and and then he that's when he tells the guy, hey, I think it's Breckenmeyer. He's like, hey, let's trip out, and it starts going into like Inagata Davida or something.
Well, you know what I love about these movies? Halloween had Paul Rudd. This one had Johnny Depp. Nightmare on Elm Street had Johnny Depp and
Yeah,
Patricia Arquette and Breckenmeyer. Then you have Friday the 13th. You had Crispin Glover and
very
Corey
young.
Savage. Yeah, like you
Yeah,
have a bunch of these people who
Corey
went on to.
Feldman.
Yeah, and Kevin Bacon in the
Yes,
original one.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, and you have they all go on to be huge stars, but they got their start in these little at the time what they were considered shitty like people didn't take horror seriously at the time.
Well, dude,
So
I was gonna say, did you know that? I mean, inflated for today's numbers, like these would have been $100 million movies at the box office, especially like Nightmare on Elm Street. I want to say Part 3 was made for 5 million, and it made 45 million in the box office. Like, these movies made money.
yep.
As you can see with all the sequels and everything. But for little, like you say, little horror movies, they made money for these guys.
Now who if they were to make another Freddy versus someone movie, who would you want to see him fight?
I mean, I'd have to go with Michael Myers, right? But that seems a little too on the nose. Um,
Well, for me, it would be Jason versus Michael.
yeah.
But
Uh,
I would want to see Freddy versus Art the Clown, actually, because
ooh,
Art the Clown is a sadistic menace like he is.
yeah.
And he's also has he can't go into dreams, but he seems to have demonic powers now. And like I think they'd be a cool matchup,
I don't
especially
know.
because
You
Freddy loves to talk and Art the Clown doesn't talk at
doesn't
all.
talk at all, right? Like I think they'd get along too well.
Yeah,
I was
you're
thinking
probably right.
Freddy versus Chucky, like
I want to
uh
see Annabelle versus Chucky.
where it starts off with Chucky trying to defile Annabelle.
Or Leprechaun versus Chucky.
Leprechaun might have to go against who's the new dancing girl?
Oh, Megan.
Megan. Yeah. um I like I'm just to go into kind of more recent stuff. They did the Abigail vampire movie. which
Oh,
I really liked. I liked that they went into like, hey, this is she's she's a descendant of the original vampire, and I'm all for that dark universe that they're gonna try to push again. I hope that one day we do get there. I'm a big fan of Van Helsing. I don't know if you heard. I did Tis. Well, the episode came out today of Tis the podcast, where we did Ducktales, and it was the episode where they do. It was called Ducky Horror Picture Show, but they kind of have all the Universal monsters in that, and I'm a big fan of the original Universal monsters. So
me
I would
too.
love to see something coming out in that realm.
I'm still upset the Universal Pictures never did a witch back in the day.
Dude, I was gonna mention that earlier. That's crazy.
But
Okay,
I'm convinced that's why the Sanderson sisters are so popular because they never you don't have a pop culture witch like
no,
you,
not since
you
Wicked Witch of the East.
West.
Or West. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But she was so scary too.
Yep.
Like, oh my god. Like,
Oh,
people
that's
don't.
she's one of I still put her as one of the best movie villains of all time, the Wicked Witch of the West. She
Yes,
was terrifying.
I mean, people don't mention Wizard of Oz as much for like horror, but it's a scary movie. Like to me, that we're out of the woods, we're out of the that song that scares the heck out of me. I don't know why. It gives me the creeps. The flying monkeys are scary as heck. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
So,
But
fun fact for people who like Wizard of Oz and Hocus Pocus, during the climax of Hocus Pocus, where Winifred tosses Danny aside and grabs Max and starts going into the air with him, you could hear them playing the Wicked Witch of the West theme in the score. Dun, 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 dun. Yep.
oh, I'm gonna listen to it. I'm a little perturbed. My wife and daughter watched the first Hocus Pocus without me this season, and I was like, "Oh, bro, like, I mean, it's okay. I go cry in the corner." Um, um, I wanted to say, think of comedy duos now. Who could you see doing a Abbott Costello Meet the Wolfman type of movie? I have something in mind, but I let you go first.
Comedy duos now. Who's a comedy duo now? I mean, I would not watch it because I really do not like them in a lot of stuff. It would be what The Rock and Kevin Hart meet Frankenstein or something.
No, I could totally see Jay and Silent Bob Meet the Wolfman or something like that.
I'd
Uh,
watch that. I'd
yeah,
also
yeah.
watch. I'm really excited for the new Anaconda movie coming out with Paul Rudd and Jack Black. So I would love to
That's
see
that's
them meet the
that's the new
Wolfman.
duo right there, right? um, do you have
Or
okay?
no, I
Is
got it. I got it. It doesn't have to be a male duo. Give me Tina Fey and Amy Poehler meet the Wolfman.
Yes, yes. Oh man, bitches get stuff done, and we're bitches. I love Amy and Tina. Um, um. Okay. Getting back to Nightmare, Anthony, is Freddy versus Jason your favorite film of the franchise? I think you
Look,
can say that.
I
Hearing
I
you
would
talk today, I would say that.
I would say Nightmare on Elm Street's the best film in the franchise, but Freddy vs. Jason may be my favorite because it's the most fun.
Yeah, this is about
It's the
you.
most fun,
What is your favorite? Yeah.
and it has the Christmas Story reference in it because what's his name? The bully Farkas plays one of the guy's brothers in that movie that Freddy kills by tossing him around the bathroom and lighting him
Okay.
on fire and then carving into his back Freddy's back.
Oh. Okay. 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 Oh, yellow eyes. The kid had yellow eyes.
But I love the last third of that movie where it's actually Freddy versus Jason.
hmm
I love that they do it in the dream world first, so Freddy has the advantage, but then they pull Freddy into the real world, and Jason just goes hog wild on him at Camp Crystal Lake.
I I love the scene where it pans up, right? It's a great shot. It's and you see the boots, the legs, and the bottom of the machete, and you think it's Jason, and it turns out to be Freddy, and then you see the glove come through his chest. Oh, it's awesome, man.
Well, they definitely made Jason more heroic in that. Like
Yeah,
Jason
yeah.
comes back for that final kill to save the kids. I like that. And there's so
uh,
many great things. I love when Jason's asleep and they're speeding to Camp Crystal Lake before he wakes up, and they
oh
think
yes, 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 yes.
he stopped breathing because Freddy's making him drown in the dream, and they're like, somebody has to give him mouth to mouth, and like they're arguing who's gonna give Jason this giant rotting corpse mouth to mouth in the van.
Oh, that was one of the best things about Jason X, man. When the nanobites kind of take him over and fix everything about him, and they just make him super Jason. Oh, that was great. They do the one scene where they're trying to distract him, and he just ends up, with both of the girls inside the sleeping bags, hitting them against a tree. Ah,
I'll tell you this as well, though. I love the scene at the party in the cornfield where they light Jason on fire and he's just going through slashing everywhere with the machete while he's on burning. I love
oh,
that, but I also loved when Freddy's about to kill the girl in the silo and then she disappears because Jason got to her first, and he's Freddy's just so pissed, like she's mine,
yeah, yeah.
mine.
um, Big Children of the Corn fan or no?
May Children of the Corn.
Yeah, have you seen those movies?
I have, yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time. I
Is there a
remember
lot of
liking them
corn
though.
around New York?
The more further upstate you go, yeah, the further
Oh,
upstate you go, it looks more and more like the Midwest rural areas.
yeah, yeah. There's
Um,
a lot of people that don't know that there's woods in New York. Like there's a lot of wooded areas. I know that. It's just because I follow a lot of stupid Bigfoot shows, but um,
I like what's it called? I just want to give a shout out to one of my other favorite horror movies here, set in New York, actually set in Rockland County where I lived. Hell House LLC, found footage.
yes, yes,
If
yes,
you're
yes,
if you're a haunted house fan or worked in a haunted house, that one. Yeah, as a
yeah.
horror fan, not a lot truly scares me nowadays, but there were some really good jump scares in that one. That can't man, I love that franchise.
No, we could talk some other scary movies. What about the Paranormal Activity franchise? Were you a big fan of those, or where you at on them?
The first one especially, but the first three I really like. I
Yeah.
saw the first one when I was living on my own in a flat in England in college,
Ooh.
and
No.
I came back
No.
to the apartment after dark, and
Mm-mm.
literally for like 3 months after, I every time I left the apartment for class, if I thought I'd be home after dark, I would leave the lights on because it terrified me.
A flat in England, like that had to be an old apartment, like that had you know multiple people living there before you, right?
I assume so. And I mean, it was definitely a college, like, it was a college town,
Uh
but it
huh.
was not a college building, but it was filled with a lot of college kids. But the elevators, it was so old, it was the great ones where you open a door, like you pull it open and you have the sliding grate rather than the electronic doors.
Yeah.
So,
How,
yeah.
I mean, where are you at in New York? Are you in the city or are you suburbs? I mean, I don't mean to get too personal, but like are you like in the old part, like the old city type of New York? Like it's got to be an old town too.
Like an hour north of the city.
Okay, okay, okay. San Antonio, man, it's we famous for the Alamo, of course. But I mean, dude, that's not too far from my house. We have a lot of missions here, where a lot of old stuff takes place. Um, my family swears up and down that they hear stuff in my house, and I just like no, and I'm good. It's a brand new house. I
Look,
don't hear nothing.
I believe in all that stuff, and I don't taunt it. Like you will never
No,
see me messing with a Ouija board or anything.
no,
Because
never, never, Anthony.
you saw Paranormal Activity, right? Like
Yes, yes,
that
yes,
guy
yes.
deserved to die when she kept
Yes.
telling him, "Don't mess with it," and he kept
Yes.
messing with it.
Yes. My favorite thing about Paranormal Activity is that they went back to the 80s and they were able to do it and make it make sense, right? Like it didn't look like a new movie shot about the 80s. It looked like they were using actual VHS or those old style cameras back then. So I love those movies. And I know you are a fan of The Conjuring and the Pearl movies as well, right?
Yes, so The Conjuring, I adore Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're the fictional ones. The real
Yeah,
people are pieces of shit in real life.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
Although I visited their grave in real life, and a lot of people leave flowers and stuff there because they didn't live. They lived maybe an hour from me in Connecticut, but
Yeah.
yeah, the Ed and Lorraine Warren, the fictional ones, are probably my some of my favorite horror movie characters of all time.
Hmm.
It's just relationship goals. They're just legitimately good people who are madly in love and fight demons.
Yeah.
And I thought the most recent one was the perfect ending. I loved it. And yeah, I love the Pearl movies. X is the better version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I'm honestly not a fan of that franchise, the Texas
No.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh no, dude. I mean, I can watch the first one. Like there's a lot of people that assume like, hey, you're from Texas, of course you like that movie, right? Which you can count. I mean, there's numerous assumptions people make when you're from Texas. No, we don't all wear cowboy boots, although I wear some at times. No, we don't all ride horses and stuff like that. If I stuck my head out the window and said the stars at night are big and bright, people are not going to sing deep in the
Yep.
heart of Texas. Pee Wee lied to you guys, but we do have our own, like, growing up in Hispanic culture. There's a lot of spooky things that I get told by my family around here, so I don't need to make up a lot of stuff. But we've always been, fans of the scary, man. Like I start off with The Exorcist and then move on down. But getting back to Freddy, it's, Freddy started off real scary, and I want to say he's got to be in that Mount Rushmore of horror movie villains, right?
I think if you're doing a Mount Rushmore of horror movie villains, like objectively, so I'm not going to put my subjective tastes on it. I think objectively it would be Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Ghostface would probably be the four on Mount Rushmore.
Right. Okay. Now, what?
For me personally,
Yes, yes. This show is about you, Anthony. I want to know what you think.
it would be Ghostface, Art the Clown, Michael Myers, and Pearl.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say maybe have like Ed and Lorraine Warren in there.
Well,
Um.
I was only picking the villains. If I was doing heroes,
Okay.
I do Ed and Lorraine Warren, Sidney Prescott. No, oh man, it's hard. I guess Dewey is really the heart of that franchise, in my opinion. I,
Oh, there we go. I love Sidney Prescott though. I was man. I
and
had
I'll
the
say
biggest
this.
crush on Nev Campbell.
Me too. I'm so excited she's coming back for seven. But and I'll tell you this though, and this may be controversial, but Laurie Strode walked so Sidney Prescott could run. Sidney Prescott's the final girl everyone likes to pretend Laurie Strode was, but it's actually Sidney Prescott.
Okay, but bring it back to Nightmare on Elm Street. Heather Langenkamp and Nancy in the first movie. I mean,
Even
she was resourceful. You
even in
know,
the third one, when she's
yeah,
like the mentor teaching the Dream Warriors, yeah, she's great.
yes, yeah.
Um,
People don't, and then New Nightmare as well. She comes back for that one. So I want to give her props, especially being that we were talking Nightmare, of course. Um, I mean, she was just, she started off, she found out what was going on, and
she, but like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, she did not look like a high school kid.
but I mean, we talked about it like we did Grease one time on Now Watch This, and man, it was just like all the 30-year-old high school people in that movie.
I love Grace.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's Julia, my co-host, her biggest flaw is the fact she doesn't like race.
Wow.
Uh, but yeah. So I have a fun fact about Freddy for you. Do you know why he wears a Christmas sweater?
No, 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 no. Please,
So
you're the Christmas guy. Bring it.
it's funny because red and green are the Christmas colors, but scientifically, Wes Craven explained this. There's scientifically your eyes and your brain have trouble processing red and green next to one another. It disorients you.
Really?
So he thought, well, if he's going to be in your dreams trying to disorient you, red and green's the perfect color combination for him.
Oh, okay, okay. Now, you
And I
ever
love
dress
Wes
up as
Craven.
Freddy?
I have
Have-
not. But
No.
I do just want to say I love Wes Craven's cameo in Scream in the Freddy Krueger sweater in the in the school
And
as the
so
janitor.
that's your first encounter with Freddy, really, is Wes
It's Scream.
Craven is Scream in the thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Um
I
so
have never dressed as Freddy because if I was going to do it, it's the same reason I will never dress as Art the Clown. I want the proper prosthetics and not like the rubber masks that you don't have expressions and can't move in. Like,
yeah.
if I was going to do them, I'd want to do it right. I would love to dress as Freddy one day, but I'd want like somebody who could do professional style makeup to do the makeup for me because I wouldn't want to just wear a latex mask that can't
Yeah.
move.
You can imagine being 5'3". I just never got the Freddy call to dress up as Freddy or anything like that. No one wants to see a miniature Freddy out there, so I always understood. They did give me my own chupacabra costume one time though, so but Anthony, I'm coming up on an hour here, man. I want to say I do appreciate your time so much. I'm glad we were finally able to get on and mix it up.
Yeah,
We've done
this was a
podcasts with other
blast,
people. Yes.
and I'm sorry if I didn't stay on topic enough, but this was fun.
No, no, no. Please, man, just to sit here and pick your brain. I wanted to have a topic so that we knew what we are going to talk into. But I mean, I said it in the intro. Tis the podcast, DC Unlimited. I mean, we didn't even talk Christmas movies. So there's so much more we can get into you.
Uh,
If,
I will just real quick before we sign
yeah,
off. I'll plug my favorite Christmas horror movie since it's Halloween, Krampus,
yeah.
2015.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you sign off and plug yourself big time here, but I just want to tell you from me, thank you again. I've been a fan for a long time. Do you remember the joke that I made in the Totally Rad Christmas episode where you started laughing and then you're like, I knew there was a reason why I liked you.
Oh God, what was it?
Okay. In the movie, in the episode, uh, there's a ghost that runs into a tree, while he's skiing, and I said, "Oh, he had a little Sonny Bono action there," and you started laughing, and Jerry was like, "Oh," and then Jerry ended up cutting that from the episode, which uh
Jerry.
he's let some as he's become friends with CJ and everything, he's let some other things pass that. Now I think he would have let that one go, but yeah, we started laughing and I was like, "Ooh, I'm sorry about that." And you were like, "I knew I liked you for a reason." But yeah, man, my first podcast I did was with you and Jerry. So again, thank you for coming on, and please plug yourself, plug your letterbox, plug your podcast, please. If we haven't sold you enough to the listeners now.
Yeah, so I host two podcasts. One I've been doing since 2017 now, which I can't believe, and that is Tis the podcast that's determined to keep the Christmas spirit alive 365 days per year. I co-host that with two of my best friends in the whole world, Julie Colburn and Tom Crow. Every Monday, all year round, we talk a different Christmas movie, television special, episodes of a TV show. Sometimes I'll mix it up and do music or commercials. And then for 2 months a year, we do Halloween content. So we're right in
Mhm.
the middle of spooky season. Um, we've covered some great horror films. in the past 2 months. We've done Weapons, A Late Night with the Devil, which are two of my recent favorites.
Yes.
We've had some great guests on, like Kendall Foray and Misty from Two Girls One Crypt, and the Film Strip guys. So check it out. The Halloween stuff is a lot of fun, especially this far in when all the good Christmas movies have long gone. um, and besides Christmas and Halloween, even though those are our two biggest things, every now and then, depending on
Hey,
the year,
you've
we'll
done
try
a
to do.
done a
Well,
Thanksgiving episode and
yeah,
an
we'll try
Easter
to do
episode.
Thanksgiving and Easter and New Year, sometimes Fourth of July. We'll try other things.
Mm.
Um, Also, for the past few years, I've been co-hosting a podcast called DC Unlimited. And no, even though people who know me, oh, politics, you're into politics. Yes, I am, but I mean DC Comics, not DC as in DC Washington.
Oh, oh no,
Uh,
no, no. Yeah, no,
um,
DC Comics, man.
we we
Everyone, Marvel this, Marvel that. I've always seen you carry that DC flag, man. So
uh,
I support that podcast to no end.
by the way, not to get into the Marvel versus DC debate here, but if there was a Mount Rushmore of superheroes, the three of the characters would be DC characters. It would be
Of
Batman,
course.
Superman, Wonder Woman, and then Spider Man.
Yes, yes.
And
Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that.
and then if you were going to do villains, it would probably be Joker, Lex Luthor, Doctor Doom, and Green Goblin.
Yes, yes.
But
And in my opinion, Batman takes them all. So
absolutely, there is no better fictional rivalry out there than Batman and the Joker.
I'm
To
telling
quote
you.
to quote Heath Ledger, they'll be doing that forever.
Yes. You
Um,
and I will be doing this. Yes. Uh,
but yes, DC Unlimited is pretty much bi-weekly now, like twice a month. On a good month, it really depends on the news.
mhm.
We cover. We started when James Gunn was announced to be taking over DC, and we've kind of been covering the rise and beginnings of this new DC universe. But we also talk comics and older movies and TV episodes and stuff too occasionally. But it's mainly the newer stuff like Peacemaker and Superman and the upcoming Batman films and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Now,
check us out.
Anthony, I promise I'm gonna let you go, but I gotta ask you. You got to be a podcast fan, right? Like,
Yes.
can you tell me some of your favorite podcasts?
Sure. Well, I mean, a blanket statement like I love you. I love Just Another Friday Night. I love Jerry's show, Totally Red Christmas, all the Christmas podcasts.
Hmm.
But some of the other ones I listen to, like people not in our circle,
Yeah.
Holy Batcast, hosted by
Okay.
Andy DiGenova. Um, he a huge fan of that guy. Him and his wife actually were two of the project managers who just built Epic Universe at Universal. Um, I'm kind of friends with him, not in the same way I am with you guys, but like
Huh.
just it's so he's a really cool guy, really nice guy, huge Batman fan. He's also a huge holiday fan, so he does a lot of holiday stuff, themed stuff. Real fans for real movies. He also hosts, which is great.
Mhm.
And he also hosts. He has three podcasts. He also well more than three, but the three I listen to. He also hosts Disorder, which is every Disney film in order. They've covered from the very first Disney
Oh,
film to the end, and now that they're done, they're kind of doing themed months. Like they'll do Pixar 1 month and things like that. But they
yeah.
covered every Disney animated film from the beginning to the end, which is
That
awesome.
is awesome. Yeah.
Besides that, what else do I listen to? Pod Save America for my politics people out there. Two Girls, One Crypt. Um, Film Strip Podcast. If you just want blanket movie podcast, there. I
Oh,
love,
they just did Monster Squad.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I love Jay, Ron, and Lindsay. The three of the best people you'll ever meet. So their
Now,
stuff is always great.
early on, podcasts. There's like five people doing them. But I've always been a big Kevin Smith fan. Did you listen to early Smodcast? Or I think when he started it, it was Fat Man on Batman.
I
Oh
like
yes.
some fat man on Batman.
Okay. Okay.
Kevin Smith can be, and I like podcasts where you just kind of talk and ramble, like
Uh.
I do. But Kevin Smith can go on and on and on to the point I'm
Uh
like, get to it. Um, oh,
huh.
but I do generally like him in so yeah, some of that
Yeah.
stuff is great. Um, Rewind of the Living Dead. I just started listening to that one recently. That's a huge horror podcast, so and it's fantastic. Oh, also Radio Rental.
Yes, I
Even
told you
though
about that one.
even
Yeah.
though I can't believe they replaced Rainn Wilson with Jeff Foxworthy. So
Uh, the
I'm assuming it's
they've
because
gone
he
into a
wanted
couple
to
of things
leave.
with that one. Yeah. Yeah. It's not as consistent. I listened to one called Monster Among Us where it has people calling in and telling their stories, which is great in itself. But as a fan of podcasts, I know you had to be a fan. I wanted to know what you listen to because it might turn me on to a few more podcasts. But I was the one that you know, I met Chuck and Jerry just listening to podcasts, but I told Chuck, I was like, "Tis the podcast. Have you heard of this one?" And I turned him on to you guys and everything, and vice versa. And I still need to get on Tis the podcast, but I have some.
You have been on Patreon,
I've been on Patreon.
which by the way, when's this episode dropping?
Uh, this one I can have it as soon as tomorrow.
Okay,
Out. It depends.
well, back in July when Superman first came out, you and Chuck and Jerry and Matt and I talked
Yeah.
about Superman. It is now October, and that episode is not dropped because I was locked out Patreon for so long, and it took forever to Tom get me to back in. Well, I got into Patreon, and that episode is finally dropping on Wednesday of this week, the
Oh,
15th.
awesome.
So, check that out. Better late than never,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah, put it out there, man. I'll share it on my thing.
And
Um,
I do just want to plug our Patreon real quick.
yes,
Yeah,
please.
for $1 per month, you can get full length bonus episodes, and we have 7 years worth. We have slowed down this past year because lots of life things got in the way, but we still have tons of episodes up there. Julia and I have a whole spin off show, which I mentioned
Yes.
earlier, called "Tis the Ruin" podcast, where I walk her through a horror movie that she's never seen, has no intention of seeing, but she still wants to know what happens. And she tries to guess the twists and turns and deaths and stuff along the way. That's really fun. Um, Art the Clown is kind of the patron saint of that podcast because that's what started it. She wanted to know what happened to those movies, and yeah. Um,
You walking Julia through stuff is very funny. Um, but sometimes you and Tom's interactions are just the best for me. I mean, Julia is everybody's favorite elf. You got to say that, right?
I mean, there is
Everybody
no
knows.
disputing that.
Yeah, to hear you and Tom get into it sometimes is pretty good. I still one of my favorite openings was when Julia and Tom faked having Jerry replace you as the third elf. Um, I mean, it's one of those. Again, I don't mean to go too far into it, but it's one of those podcasts where, or one of those things where you can remember what you were doing, remember where you were at when you first heard that podcast. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
Oh, I
So
also do want to post this year for the third year in a row. Our annual horror movie Halloween bracket, March Madness bracket, is going to release this month. It's a little late. I want to release it on October 1st, but we haven't finished recording it because everyone's so busy.
yeah.
So tomorrow night, the 14th, I'm hoping to knock it out completely and then get it up end of the week so people can actually listen to it before Halloween. But
Well,
those are always a blast. We get great feedback on those. They turn out to be like 6 hours long, but they're
yes.
really fun. And listen to it with a notepad because between Jay and Ron and Mistel, I keep doing this. Misty and Kendall and Matt and myself, you'll have a bunch of different horror movie recommendations you want to look up. So
No, no, Anthony, and again, I know the Burr months is your busiest time of the year, so I appreciate your time, and that's why I was more than willing to come on early for you. But
I
yeah,
appreciate
man,
that.
I yes. So thank you very much. I hope that we can do something in the future. I do have some Tis the podcast recommendations though, because early on you guys would do episodes, right? But then you do like, well, we're gonna do all of The Office together, and then y'all wouldn't. I mean, I think y'all could go back and revisit some of those episodes because
Trust me, we
yeah,
have talked about everything now that we're this far in, and all the good Christmas movies and stuff are gone. But I'm
yeah,
glad you mentioned the Office episode because the Office one is still one of my favorites, and that was pretty
yeah,
early on.
yeah. So, if I can't get you to do that on Tis the podcast, maybe I can get you to come back on here, man, and we do
Any,
either a Christmas movie or an episode.
Let me tell you something. Anytime you want to have me on to talk the Office, Halloween, or Christmas episodes, I'm your man.
Anthony, don't tease me with a good time, brother. I will do
It's
it.
only October, so if you want to do the Christmas ones, and if you in next month or the month after, let me know.
Okay, all right, I got you. We're gonna do one, but Anthony, thank you again, brother. Again, I'm a big fan. So to be able to kind of to call you a friend, fellow podcaster, fellow ratty winner. It's been an honor, man. And just you know me. It's not even podcasting. I pick your brain sometimes about different movies, different things, but especially when we talk horror, you're my go-to guy. So Anthony Caruso, thank you for coming on. Now watch
Thank you
this.
for having me. This was a blast.
All right, watchers. So I hope you guys enjoyed Anthony. Please, you can find him on Tis the Podcast, or if you don't find Tis the Podcast, you can find Anthony on Totally Rad Christmas because he's on there about once a month too. So I always said there's no busier guy than Jerry, but Anthony's got two podcasts, so he's right there up there with Jerry. So thank you, Anthony, for coming on, and watchers, keep watching and keep listening.
This is Dr. Dre. Party's going on. Thank God it's Friday.
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Hey, life's a risk, carnal.
I do a great impression of a hot dog.
Billy likes to drink soda.
So am I to understand that you men completed your training on your own?
That's the fact, Jack!
Come on, seriously, who is that?
I only came here to do two things, man. Kick some ass and drink some beer. Looks like we're almost out of beer.